Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to dive into the topic of reservations in SAP MM. We'll be covering this topic in two parts. In part 1, we'll focus on reservation processing. You'll learn how to create, change and display a reservation, as well as how to access the reservation list using transaction code MB25. In part 2, we'll explore the configuration aspects of reservations and understand how reservation management is handled using transaction code MBVR. So let's start. So first of all, let's understand what is a reservation. So as the name suggests, reservation is a document which is used to reserve the stock. That is, let's say that you are a plant manager. You require some goods in the future. You are planning some activity in your plant like doing a production or maintenance of your equipment, and for that you require materials. So before planning the activity, you have to plan the withdrawal of those materials from the warehouse. So how you can tell the warehouse manager what all materials you require? So to do that, in SAP, we have something called as reservations. Reservations are basically demand document which you will create in the system. Through that document, the warehouse manager will come to know what all materials are required by you at a future date. So you can see here, a reservation is a formal request to the warehouse or stores to set aside specific materials for a future goods movement. Now, generally reservations are used for material withdrawal, but you can use it for material transfer and goods receipt also. And you will do this goods movement for a specific purpose such as production, transfers or cost center consumption. So basically you will create this document to tell the warehouse manager or to tell the warehousing department that you require some materials in near future. Okay. Now, the person who is sitting in the warehouse, who is responsible for issuing the goods to you, he will also have certain incentives out of this reservation. And what those incentives will be? This reservation will simplify and speed up the goods movement entry process. That is, when that warehouse manager will be issuing the material, he will not be required to make all the entries in the system manually. Every detail will be there in the reservation. He will simply adopt that reservation and all the details will be available for him in the MIGO screen. He can change those details and then post the reservation and then issue the material physically to the person who has created the reservation. Now let's see some of the salient points for a reservation. So you can see here, a reservation can be created manually or automatically also. In the system, you create reservation manually through T code MB21. This is a very important T code, and as an end user, you will always be using this T code to create reservations to draw material from the warehouse. Okay. Now, this T code MB21 can be used to issue material against specific movement types only. There are certain movement types for which you cannot create reservation manually. They are created through the relevant transaction against which that activity is being performed. Let's say that you are doing maintenance on a particular equipment, and for that you are using the PM module, that is a plant maintenance module. In the PM module, you have the facility to create maintenance orders. In that maintenance order, you will add your materials with the required quantity. This particular activity of adding components to the maintenance order will create a reservations automatically in the background. Similarly, for projects, if you are creating networks and then adding components to the network, there also you will have automatic creation of reservation. So you can see here, if you're using plant maintenance module, then the T code will be IW31 to create the maintenance order and then attach components. If you're working with project system module and you're creating networks, then the T code will be CN21, where you will create network, attach the components, and then reservation will get created automatically. So you have both these processes, manual creation of reservation and automatic creation of reservation. In this video, we'll cover only the manual creation of reservation. If you want a separate video on automatic creation of reservation, then please put in the comments. I'll try to create video on that topic also. Now you can see here, reservations are key elements for material requirement planning. For MRP run, these reservations work as a demand document. They will get added to your material requirement list, and against that reservation, the MRP controller will have to either produce or procure the material. So if you have created a reservation and if the material is not available with the warehouse manager or it is not there in the inventory, then it is a responsibility of the MRP controller to either procure or produce that material for you, so that for that particular purpose on the particular date, the material is made available in the warehouse. So these reservations are very important for material requirement planning. Then you can see here, typically reservations are created for goods issue and goods transfer. You can see here, but you can also use it for goods receipt. And for goods transfer, you only have these two movement types, that is 311 and 301. 311 is for storage location to storage location transfer, and 301 is for plan to plan transfer. So these movement types only you can use for creation of reservation. And for goods receipt, you can do for all cases where you do goods receipt without reference, that is movement type 501, 521. For those movement types also you can create reservations. Okay, so these were the salient points related to reservations. Now let's move on to SAP and see how we can create a reservation, what all various views are there in the reservation, and how you can access list of reservations through T code MB25. And we'll also see how you post these reservations through MIGO transaction. Okay, so let's move on to SAP now. So now let's see in SAP how we can create a reservation manually. So to create the reservation manually, you can go through the SAP Easy Access tree also. You have to go to logistics, materials management, inventory management, reservation, and you can see here this link is for creation of reservation. This will take you to the transaction code MB21. So you can either go through this tree here or you can simply enter transaction code MB21 here. So we'll enter this T code and press enter. Now in the first screen you can see you have a base date, a checkbox to check date against your factory calendar, a movement type field, and a plant code. So any reservation contains two parts. One is the reservation header and another is the item overview. Any reservation will have its header and at least one item. So first of all, what you have to do is you have to enter the header data and then you will create items in that particular reservation. So the two important fields that you see in this header are movement type and plant code. So you have to always understand that whenever you are creating a reservation, you have to create the reservation for a specific movement type. When you enter this movement type in the header, all the items will adopt that movement type only. So you cannot create a reservation manually with line items having different movement types. Every line item will have the same movement type which you will enter in the header of the reservation. Then you can see you also have a field here called reference. Now this field is to enter a pre-created reservation, a reservation that you already have in the system. And if you want to copy data from that reservation, then you can enter that reservation number here and system will adopt the detail from that reservation. Okay. So let's enter a movement type here. So we'll enter movement type 201. Now, if you do not know the movement type, then you can propose these movement types through this link also. If you go to movement type here and you can see all these actions are listed here. So you have consumption, transfer posting, receipt, and then consumption reversal, transfer posting reversal, and receipt reversal. And if you select consumption, you can see you can create reservation for consumption against all these objects. So if you select cost center, system will propose the movement type that is relevant for consumption to cost center. Let's select another cost object. So if we select project here, you can see system will change the movement type to 221. So from here also you can select the movement type. If I go to transfer posting, you have from plant to plant and from storage location to storage location. So if I select plant to plant, you can see system changes this movement type to 301. Similarly, if you go to receipt, you can see from vendor without PO and from production without order. So if you go to this link, if you click on to unrestricted, you will see the movement type will change to 501. This is goods receipt without purchase order. So if you do not remember the movement type, you can select movement type from this menu also. Okay. Then you have all these reversal movement types also. So if you want to post a consumption reversal for cost center, if you click this particular link, you will see the movement type will change to 202. So we'll enter 201 here and we'll enter our plant here. Let's press enter here. So you can see once we press enter, we come to another screen. Now this screen is called the collective processing screen. In this screen, you have to enter the account assignment object and the list of materials which you want to create reservation for. Okay. You can see here you have a GL account, goods recipient field, and a cost center. Now, since you are creating reservation with movement type 201, so system will automatically mark this field as a mandatory field. That is, you must enter a cost center for creating reservation with movement type 201. So this is called the account assignment data. That is, you need to enter the account assignment detail relevant for this particular movement type. Then you can see here you have a table here where you have to enter the list of material codes, quantity, storage location, and batch through which you want to issue the material or through which you want to have this material movement posted. Okay. So you can see here we have a column for material code, then quantity, then unit of entry, then this plant code, storage location, and batch. Now the field material and quantity is a mandatory field. You must enter a material code and a quantity to create the reservation. But these two fields are optional fields. That is, storage location and batch are optional fields. You can enter them in your reservation so that when the warehouse manager is posting your reservation, the storage location and batch will also get defaulted in the MIGO screen. Let's say that you do not know in which storage location the material is lying or which batch the warehouse manager is going to issue. Then you can keep these fields blank. These fields will get populated as blank in the MIGO screen. The warehouse manager or the person who is posting this reservation will make entries against the storage location and batch. Now, batch will only be applicable for materials where batch management is activated. Okay. Then you can see here you have a checkbox called movement allowed. Now, this is the most important checkbox as far as the reservation is concerned. This checkbox actually tells the system that whether you can post this reservation line in the MIGO screen or not. That is, if you enter this reservation number in the MIGO screen, if this movement allowed checkbox is not ticked, system will not populate that particular reservation line. So this screen is called collective processing screen. So what we have to do, first we have to enter a cost center. Then we have to enter the material code here. We'll enter some quantity here. And if we press enter here, you can see system will take the unit of entry from the material master. And since this material is not managed with batches, so you can see this batch field has been grayed out. Now let's enter one more material code in this reservation. So we'll enter another material code here and we'll enter some quantity and we'll press enter. So you can see we have added these two material to our reservation. That is, we require these materials at a particular date. Now, I have not specified the date on which I require these materials. So where I can enter that date? So for that, I'll have to go to details of each line item. So to go to the details, I'll have to double click this or I can click on this particular icon here. So let's click on this icon. Now you see for each item, system will open up a detailed screen. You can see here, create reservation details 0001/0002. That means you have two items in your reservation and currently you are processing the first item. Okay, so you have movement type 201, plant code, the material code, storage location we did not enter, so it has not come up here. Then you can see here, this is the field where you enter your requirement date. Now this field will get defaulted from the base date that you entered in the header. System will copy the base date to this requirement date, but you can change this date here. Then you can see this is the cost center that we entered, and you see system has proposed a GL account also. Now from where this GL account has been proposed? This GL account is proposed through the automatic account determination. We have already discussed in our movement type configuration video that against each movement type you have something called as account modifier. Against that account modifier in the OBYC transaction, you maintain GLs for automatic account determination. So the GL which is configured for automatic account determination will get proposed here. Then you can see we have fields for recipient, unloading point, and item text. These are basically text fields where you can maintain the details of this reservation. That is, let's say that you want to enter the person's name who is going to receive the material from the warehouse, then you can enter in the recipient field. If you want to enter where this material is going to be unloaded in your plant, then you can enter the unloading point here, and you can give some extra information in the item text field here. So here you can see this is the item detail screen. Okay. Now from here, if you want to go to the header of this reservation, then you can simply go to this go to menu and you can go to the display header data. And if you go here, you can see we have a base date. So we have a movement type and cost center that we entered in the header. And if you again want to go to the item detail, then you will have to click here and enter the item number. So if I enter item number 1, it will send me to that first item. Now let's say that I want to navigate to my next item. So how can I do that? I'll have to click on this icon here. You can see this is for next item. If I click here, it will take me to the second item. You can see here item 2. Now let's say that I want to enter one more item. So again, I'll have to go to the collective processing screen. So how can I do that? Again, I'll have to go to this go to menu and I can click on collective processing. So you can see again, I have come to the same screen where I can enter the list of material codes and other details here. Now let's save this reservation. So we'll have to click on the save button. And you can see system has created this reservation number 1055. Now let's say that you have to change this reservation. So how we can do that? For that, we'll have to go to T code MB22. So we'll go to T code MB22, or you can go to this change link here also in the SAP Easy Access tree. So we'll go to T code MB22. Here we'll have to enter this reservation number and then we'll press enter. Now you can see system only shows me 2 line items. These are the items for which I created the reservation. Now what all changes I can do? I can change the quantity of this reservation. I can enter or change the storage location. And now I have these 3 columns which I can access here. Earlier, when I was creating the reservation, I only had this movement allowed checkbox. But you can see here, I also have a completed checkbox and a deleted checkbox. Now, what is the purpose of this completed column and this deleted column? So whenever you create a reservation, system will propose the open quantity of that reservation in the MIGO screen. Let's say that I have a reservation for 10 quantity and I have already posted 5 quantity from this reservation. So next time when I enter this reservation, for this item, system will only propose me 5 quantities. But let's say that when I was posting the 5 quantity out of this 10 quantity of line item 1, I want to close this reservation line. That is, I don't want system to propose any open item further. Although I have 5 quantity remaining, but I want the system to not to propose those 5 remaining quantities. So to do that, I'll have to activate this checkbox. This checkbox tells the system that for this reservation line item, no open quantity is there. If you post a reservation with a quantity which is equal to the reservation quantity, system will automatically activate this checkbox. That is, if I issue 10 quantity against this line item, then system will automatically mark this checkbox. But you can also mark this checkbox manually if you want to close this reservation line. And whenever you will propose this reservation line in MIGO screen, system will not propose any quantity there. Okay. Then this deleted checkbox is to mark this line item for deletion. And you have to remember that once you mark this checkbox, you will not be able to undelete this line. So this deleted checkbox marks this line item as deleted permanently. Further to this, you can also change that item details by going to the details screen. So if I click on details from item and enter item number 1 here, you can see I have this detail screen again opened up and I can make all these changes, and you can see these 2 checkboxes have come up here in the details screen also. Now let's say that you want to add a new item in this reservation. So you had created reservation for two materials, but let's say that you want to add a new item to this reservation. So how you can do that? You can do that by clicking on this new item when you are into the item details screen. And when you are into the collective processing screen, let's go to that screen first. So we'll go to collective processing. Then you can add a new item by clicking on this icon here. This is for adding new items. System will ask you to enter requirement date and the plant code. So now because you're adding an item to your existing reservation, so system will ask you to enter your requirement date manually, and you will enter a plant code and we'll press enter. So you can see again system will open up this table, and then we can add what all items we want to add to this particular reservation. Okay, so this way you can change a reservation. Now let's see how we can display a reservation. So to do that, we'll have to go to T code MB23. So let's go to MB23. You'll have to enter reservation number, and here you can see in this display screen you can see all the items which you added. But you have one more information which is available in this screen, and that is how much quantity has been withdrawn against this reservation. You can see here, and when you post any quantity against this reservation, then below this particular block you will see a quantity getting displayed, and that quantity will be the quantity that you have withdrawn against this reservation. That is the quantity that you have already posted against this reservation line. We'll see when we post this reservation how this display changes. Okay, so you can see in the display, you can see how much quantity has been withdrawn, and you can again go to the header by clicking on this icon here, and you can see what all details were entered in the header. And to go to the item, you can again click on this icon here and enter item number, and then you can go to the details. Now that quantity withdrawn data you will be able to see when you go to the overview screen. So for that you'll have to go to this link, go to and navigate to overview. And here you can see we'll again come to that table where you can see how much quantity has been withdrawn. So we have created reservation for these two materials. Now let's go to the MMB stock overview and see where we can see these reserved quantities there. So we'll copy this material code. We'll go to MMBE and we'll enter this material code here and this plant code, and we'll execute. So you can see we have a column called reserved, and here 10 quantities are appearing. Now this column tells you for how much quantity you have open reservations there in the system. That is how much quantity has been reserved and is to be posted from the unrestricted use stock. So you can see here we had created a reservation for 10 quantity. So this 10 quantity is appearing against the plant code. And why this is not appearing against the storage location? Because we have not entered the storage location in our reservation. Let's say that as a plant manager, you run this report and you see that 90 quantities are available in this storage location. So what you can do, you can change your reservation and enter this storage location in your reservation, so that whenever this reservation is adopted in the MIGO screen, this storage location is copied and the warehouse manager can easily post this particular reservation. So let's do that. So we'll go to MB22. And we'll change this reservation and we'll enter storage location as 0001. And let's save this reservation. Now let's refresh this MMBE screen. So now you can see this 10 quantity is appearing against this storage location also. So you have 10 quantity reserved against this storage location under this plant, company code and client. So you can see this 10 quantity is aggregated up to plant, company code and the client level. And from this MMB report, I can see that 10 quantity has been reserved in this particular storage location. And when I post this reservation, my unrestricted use stock will get reduced. Okay. So now let's post this reservation. So we'll go to MIGO. And to post the goods issue against any reservation, we have to select goods issue here. And here we have to select reservation. So this is very important that whenever you are posting goods issue against any reservation, then in the reference document field, you have to select reservation against this goods issue. and we'll have to enter the reservation number here. So let's enter the reservation number here, and here we can enter the reservation item also. So let's enter item number 1 here. So you can see after pressing enter, this particular line item has been adopted in this MIGO screen. So this is how reservation helps you, that whatever data you have entered in the reservation, everything will get copied in the MIGO screen and you can readily post this particular document. Okay. So you can see if you go to the quantity tab, you can see 10 quantity has been populated from the reservation. If you go to the where tab, this movement type, plant and storage location also has been populated from the reservation. And you can see you have another tab called reservation here. So whenever you will post any goods issue against a reservation, you will always find this tab appearing. And in this tab, you can see what reservation item was copied, what was the requirement date, requirement quantity, and how much has been withdrawn against this reservation till now. And if you go to the account assignment tab, you will find that this cost center has been copied from the reservation line item. Now let's say that against this 10 quantity, you only want to issue 5. So we'll change this quantity here. We'll click on item OK and we'll post this reservation. So you can see a document with movement type 201 has been posted, and this document we have posted against a reservation. Now let's refresh our MMBE screen first. So let's refresh this. So now you can see our reserved quantity has been reduced to 5 and our unrestricted use quantity also has been reduced to 85. So our open reserved quantity is now 5 and the remaining 5 quantity has been used to post a goods issue from the available stock, which was 90 earlier, and after posting of this reservation is now 85 numbers. Okay, so this is how you can post a goods issue against a reservation. Now if I enter this reservation again, let's see what quantity is proposed by the system. So we'll go to the MIGO screen. We'll enter this reservation number again here and we'll press enter. So you can see now for item 1, system proposes 5 quantity. And if you go to this reservation tab, you can see the withdrawal quantity has been updated to 5. So my reservation requirement quantity was 10, against which I already have withdrawn 5 quantities, and hence system is proposing me the remaining 5 quantity here. Now let's say that I am posting 2 quantities out of these 5 quantities from the reservation, and then I want to close this reservation. That is, I no longer want to post any goods issue after I post 2 quantities against this reservation line item. So how I can close this reservation from the MIGO screen? Let's see that. So we'll enter 2 here. And to close this reservation, I'll have to go to this reservation tab, and you can see there's a checkbox called final issue. This checkbox will actually mark the completed checkbox in my reservation line item, and then we'll close that reservation line item. So let me just activate this checkbox and let's click on item OK and let's post this line item. So you can see I have posted 2 quantities from that reservation. Now let's first display this reservation. So we'll go to MB23 and we'll press enter. So here you can see the withdrawn quantity is 7. So as I told you earlier, in the display screen, once you withdraw quantity against the reservation line item, this field will get populated. You can see here in this line item 2, we have not posted any quantity yet. So you will not find any quantity appearing here. But once you have posted any quantity against a line item in reservation, then that quantity will also come up in the reservation display screen. Okay, so you can see here I have posted 7 quantity. I posted 5 quantities earlier and then I posted 2 quantities. But when I was posting those 2 numbers of bearings, I marked that particular goods issue as a final issue. In the MIGO screen, I marked that indicator. Because of that, you can see system has marked this particular checkbox here. So I can close the reservation through MIGO screen, and I can close the reservation manually also by changing this reservation. So let's do that for item 2 here. So we'll go to MB22. We'll press enter and we'll select this checkbox also, and let's save this reservation. Now for both these line items, we have marked that completed checkbox. Now let's go to MIGO and see how system proposes these 2 lines. So we'll go to MIGO. We'll again enter this reservation and we'll press enter. Now you see, system proposes me line item 1 here, but system did not propose me line item 2 at all. And for this line item 1, system is proposing me a quantity of 0. Now why this is happening? If you have posted any quantity against a reservation line item and then you close that line item, then system will still propose that line item in the MIGO screen but with quantity as 0. But if you have not posted any quantity against a reservation line item and you have simply closed that line item, then system will not propose that line item by default. To force that line item in the MIGO screen, you will have to do certain default setting changes. Let me just show you that. So for that, you'll have to go to settings, default values, and here you will have to activate this checkbox, propose all items. Once you activate this checkbox, then even if the reservation is closed without posting any quantity, that reservation line item also system will propose. Let's see that. So we'll activate this checkbox, click on adopt, and we'll again open MIGO and we'll enter this reservation. And now you see system proposes me both these line items. Against line item 1, system gives me a quantity as 0. Again, line item 2, system does not propose me any quantity. But can I post this reservation line item by entering quantity manually? The answer is yes. You can always post the quantities against the line item, even if you have marked that line item as completed. Let me just show you that. So we'll go to line item 1. We'll enter some quantity here. We'll click on item OK and let's click on post. So you can see system has posted this reservation line item. So even if you've marked it completed checkbox, still if that line item is proposed in the MIGO screen, you can post the quantity. And for reservation line items against which no posting has been done, and then you have closed, for those line items, if you want those line item also to be proposed in the MIGO screen, then you have to go to this setting, default values, and you have to activate this propose all item checkbox. Okay. Now let's again change this reservation. So we'll go to MB22. And this time we'll remove this checkbox and we'll remove this checkbox also. Okay, so now what we have done, we have deactivated this movement allowed checkbox and we have opened this reservation also. Now let's save this. Now let's again go to MIGO. We'll enter this reservation number and we'll enter item number 1 here and let's press enter. Now you see system gives me a message that document does not contain any selectable items. Now why this message is coming? Because I have deactivated that movement allowed checkbox. If you go to MB23, you can see here I have deactivated this checkbox. So whenever you deactivate this checkbox, system will never propose that reservation line item in the MIGO screen. System will only propose a line item if you have this movement allowed checkbox activated. So this is very important that this checkbox is a prerequisite for this particular reservation line item to be proposed in the MIGO screen. The completed checkbox will mark this reservation line item as completed, but still that line item you can propose in the MIGO screen as I just showed you just now, and you can post the quantity also. But if you have deactivated this movement allowed checkbox, then this line item will never get proposed. Okay, so this is very important. Now let's try to delete a line item from this reservation. So how we can do that? We'll have to go to MB22 and we'll have to select this deleted checkbox and let's save this. So we have marked that line item is deleted. Now, can I undelete this line item? Let's check that. So we'll again go to MB22. We'll enter this reservation and press enter. Now you see the line item 2 has been grayed out. So as I told you earlier, this deleted checkbox is an irreversible process. If you mark any reservation line item as deleted, you cannot undelete that line item. And this reservation line item will be marked as a deleted line item. Now let's see how we can post a full quantity from a reservation and then how system auto closes that reservation. So we'll create a reservation first. So we'll go to MB21. We'll press enter. We'll enter the cost center. We'll enter our material. We'll enter some quantity here. We'll enter the storage location and we'll save. So we have created this reservation. Now let's go to MIGO screen. Let's enter this reservation number here. We'll press enter. So you can see we have 10 quantities. Now let's post the full quantity from this reservation. So we'll select item OK and we'll post. So you can see this reservation has been posted. Now let's display this reservation. So we'll go to MB23. And if you display this reservation, you can see the quantity withdrawn is 10. And you can see system automatically closed this particular reservation line item. So whenever you will post the full quantity of a reservation, then system will automatically mark this checkbox. If you are doing partial posting also, if the total quantity posted against a reservation is equal to the reserved quantity, then also system will mark this completed checkbox. Now finally, let's see, is it possible to post a goods issue for a quantity which is higher than the reserved quantity? Let's test this. So we'll again create a reservation. Let's enter the details here. Let's enter quantity 10 here and storage location. And we'll save this reservation. Now let's post this through MIGO. So we'll enter the reservation number here. So you can see system proposes 10 quantity from the reservation. Now, is it possible to post a quantity which is higher than 10 here? Let's see that. But before that, let's see how we can go to the MMBE overview screen from this MIGO screen. So we'll go to the Where tab and you can see there is an icon called Stock Overview. If you click this icon, system will send you to the MMBE output for this material code and plant combination. And from here you can verify that 72 numbers are available under this storage location and 10 quantity has been reserved against the reservation that we created just now. Now let's see whether we can post a quantity which is higher than this reserved quantity. So we'll go back and let's enter a quantity 11 here and let's press enter. Let's click on item OK. We'll click on check. And you can see system tells me that document is okay. Now let's post this document. So you can see here, system allowed me to post a goods issue for 11 numbers also, even if I had created a reservation for 10 numbers. So system will only check the quantity that you are putting in the MIGO screen against the available quantity that is there in your inventory. If the available stock is sufficient to post the goods issue of the quantity that you are entering in the MIGO screen, system will allow you to post the goods issue even if this quantity that you have entered and posted goods issue for is higher than the reserved quantity. So the reservation only acts as a copying document. That is, when you adopt a reservation, it helps you to copy the data which is there in the reservation. You can increase the quantity and make the posting. And when you go to the display of this reservation, let's see, if I go to MB23, you can see system will show me how much quantity I have withdrawn. And of course, system will close this line item. So you can see here, I have withdrawn a quantity of 11 against the reserved quantity of 10. So it is up to the warehouse manager what quantity he wants to post against this reservation. He can always go beyond what is there against the reservation line item. And we saw this just now. Okay. Now finally, let's see how we can access the list of reservations through T-code MB25. So let's go to this T-code MB25 first. So you can see here, this is basically a report for reservations and you can use this report to monitor what all reservations have been created in the system. You can see you have multiple input fields here. You can enter data in these fields and find out the reservations that have been created. Let's say that you want to find out what all reservations have been created against your material code. So you can see you have a material code here and a plant code here. And there are other fields also where you can make your entries, and you can see here there are certain check boxes. You have a checkbox for open reservations, then cancelable reservations, goods movement not possible, issues and receipts. The most important checkbox is this open reservations. If you activate this checkbox, then system will tell you what all reservations are open for posting. That is, what all reservations have open quantities against which the goods movement has not been posted yet. Now, if you mark the completed checkbox in the reservation line item, then that line item will also be considered as a closed line item, and system will not propose in this particular report if you select this open reservation checkbox. So now let's create one reservation and then see how that reservation is shown in this particular report. So again, we'll go to MB21. We'll press enter. We'll enter the details here. We'll enter some quantity and storage location, and we'll save. Now let's execute this MB25 report. So we have this material code and plant code, and we have selected this open reservations. Now let's execute this. So you can see system gives me an output for this particular reservation. You can see here this reservation is open and you have a requirement quantity of 10 numbers against which the difference quantity is 10. That is, no quantity has been posted against this particular reservation. So this particular column basically tells you the open quantity against this particular reservation line item. And if you want to take more fields in this report, then you can go to this change layout option and you can select multiple fields from this column set and send it to this section and then display in your report. Let's say that I want to select these checkboxes here. So I'll send them here. Then let's select some more details. So we'll send cost center also. And if we click OK, so you can see we have added all these columns. So you have movement indicator, final issue, cost center, all these we added through this change layout option. And if you want to go to the reservation, then you can either double click on this reservation number. If I double click here, you can see system will open up this reservation. If I go back, I can select and click on reservation also to open this reservation here. And if I want to see the item, then I'll have to select and click on item, and system will open the item detail of that particular reservation line item. So in this way, you can access this report and find out what all open reservations are there against a particular material and plant combination. You can enter other details also in the input screen and then generate this particular report. Now let's close the line item of this reservation and see how this report changes. So we'll go to MB22. And we'll select this completed checkbox and we'll save. Now let's again run this report. So we have this open reservation selected and we'll execute this. And you can see that line item is no longer shown in this report. So even if we did not post any quantity against this reservation, but we close this line item manually, system will not give you output in your MB25 report if you select this open reservation checkbox here. But let's say that you want to see all the reservations that have been created, then you will have to select this checkbox also, that is goods movement not possible, and then execute. And then you will see all those reservations. For this reservation line item, we mark this completed indicator. And for this reservation line item, we mark this deleted indicator. So all those reservation line items against which movement is not possible, system will give you output if you select this particular checkbox. So in this way, you can execute this report and monitor all those reservations which are open for your material and then plan your material withdrawal accordingly. Now let's see some of the movement types for goods transfer also and see how we can create reservation for those movement types. So we'll again go to MB21 and let's enter movement type as 311 here and we'll press enter. So this is for transfer within plant, that is transfer from one storage location to another storage location. And here you can see we have a field called receiving storage location. So let's enter a storage location here. Let's enter the material here and the quantity. And here we'll have to enter the storage location from where we are going to transfer. So we'll enter 0001 here. We'll press enter and let's save this reservation. So now we have created a reservation for transferring the stock from one storage location to another. Now let's post this reservation. So we'll go to MIGO. We'll select transfer posting, and here we'll have to select reservation, and we'll enter this reservation number here. We'll press enter. So you can see system copied every data from your reservation. So you have 0001 in the from block and 0002 in the destination block, and all other data has been copied from the reservation. You can change the quantity here, and if you go to this reservation tab, again you have all these details, and you can mark this final issue for this reservation also. Let's first verify the stock. So we'll go to MMBE and we'll execute. So you can see we have 61 quantity available under 0001 storage location, and we have a reservation for 5 quantity against storage location 0002, and this is shown under the receipt reservation column. Okay, now let's post this reservation. Now let's refresh this MMBE screen. So now you can see the quantity in storage location 0001 has been reduced to 56, and in 0002 the quantity has increased to 5 numbers. So 5 quantity got transferred from storage location 0001 to storage location 0002 through that reservation which we created with movement type 311. Now we have seen the movement types for goods issue. Let's say that from your plant you want to return the items to the warehouse. Let's say that earlier you issued a material and you did not utilize that material, and now you want to return that to your warehouse. So for that you can create return reservations also. So let's see how you can do that. So we'll have to go to MB21, and here in the movement type I'll have to enter the reversal movement type. So earlier I entered 201 to post goods issue against cost center. So to return the material against cost center I'll have to enter movement type as 202. Okay, so let's press enter here. We'll have to enter a cost center and we'll enter the material code. Let's enter some quantity and storage location here, and let's save this reservation. Now let's go to the MMBE screen first, and we'll execute this. So now you can see we have 10 quantity being shown against receipt reservation column. So whenever you create a reservation with reversal movement type like 202 and save that reservation, then that quantity will be shown against this receipt reservation column. And if you post this reservation, this quantity will get added to your unrestricted use stock. And if you want to see what reservation is open, you can see that from MMB screen itself. You go to environment and reservations here. So you can see a return reservation will be shown with this. So you can see a return reservation will always be shown with this color code. This yellow line will show you that this is a return reservation, and you can see the movement type is 202 here. So now let's post this reservation. So we'll go to MIGO. We'll select goods receipt, and here we'll select reservation, and we'll enter reservation number here. So you can see we have movement type 202 shown here, and quantity is 10. We'll click on item OK and we'll post. So you can see we have posted this document. Now let's verify in MMB screen. So we'll go back from here and we'll refresh this screen. So you can see now your quantity has increased to 66 numbers. So that 10 quantity which was appearing under receipt reservation, once we posted that reservation, that quantity got added to this unrestricted use against this storage location. So in this way, you can also return the materials to the warehouse by creating a return reservation. To create a return reservation, simply you have to enter the reversal movement type. Now, one more thing let me cover here. If you go to the MB25 report, you can see you have input fields for material, plant, requirement date, username, and goods recipient. But here you will not find any input field for your reservation. Let's say that you have reservation number available with you and you want to see the details of that reservation in a report format. So how you can take that? So for that, you will have to go to this icon here that is called dynamic selections. You will have to click this icon, And from here you can select multiple fields from item data and from header data. So if you want to take list against reservation number, then you will have to double click here and the reservation number field will come up on the screen. And here you can enter a reservation number or a list of reservation numbers, and then you can execute this particular report. Okay, so in this way we discussed all aspects of reservation processing. We discussed how you can create, change and display your reservation. We saw what is the meaning of movement allowed checkbox, final issue checkbox or completed checkbox, and deleted checkbox. We also saw how you can take report of your reservations through T-code MB25. I hope that you have understood this concept of reservations, and I hope that you have liked this video. In this part 1, we covered reservation processing. In the next part, we'll cover the configurations related to reservations and how you can manage your reservations through T-code MBVR. We'll see what is the significance of base date and requirement date in a reservation. We'll see how you can mark the movement allowed checkbox in a reservation line item and how you can delete the reservations through reservation management T-code, that is MBVR. So see you in the part 2 of the video. Till then, stay tuned to my channel. You can watch other videos on MM topics on my channel. I hope that you are liking my videos. If you like my videos, then please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thanks a lot.